Welcome to the Fibromyalgia Podcast. I'm Tammy Stackelhouse, fibromyalgia coach, author, and founder of the International Fibromyalgia Coaching Institute. The goal of this podcast is to empower you with access to the dream team of experts and coaches I've discovered are key to living the fibro life you love. From the comfort of your own home, and maybe even your pajamas, I'll help you take back control of your life and health. To help out with FibroFog, I always include full show notes and additional resources at fibromyalgiapodcast.com. You're listening to the Fibromyalgia Podcast, Episode 8. Welcome to the Fibromyalgia Podcast. I'm your coach, Tammy Stackelhouse. And this week, we are going to be talking a little bit about what a fibromyalgia coach is and how one can help you feel better faster. This is probably one of the number one questions that I get when I tell people about my books and about the work I do. They say, fibromyalgia coach, I didn't know that was a thing. So I thought it would be good to start these foundational episodes with an idea of what it is that I do and what a fibromyalgia coach is. So first and foremost, let me take you back in your life here for a second and think about all of the times that your doctor has given you things to do and you have had trouble implementing them. So this could look like going to the physical therapist and being told to, do certain exercises. How good are you at following through on those things? Has your doctor ever told you to change some lifestyle habits, like what you eat or exercising? Have you ever had a doctor try to have you change your sleep habits? Have you been told you shouldn't push so hard or reduce your stress or eat healthier? All of those kinds of things. Have you ever been told that? And how good are you at following through on that? Do you always do exactly what your doctor tells you to? Or do you sometimes think, you have no clue what it's like to live in a fibromyalgia body? Do you realize what you're asking me? Or do you just forget because you have brain fog? There are so many reasons why you might not be doing the things that your doctor is telling you to do. Now, in episode 6, we talked about this a lot, what your role is as a patient in your own healthcare. And a huge part of it is keeping track of information and properly reporting things to your doctor. But part of your job is also to actually follow through and do those things so that your doctor can test and see, are these things going to make a difference? Is it going to help you feel better? And if you can't follow through and do them, that sort of shortcuts the doctor's ability to help you feel better. Let me tell you a little story from my life, from my background. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia in 2007. I had been married about 6 months. You guys probably all heard my story in episode 3, so I won't rehash the whole thing. But a key part of my story is the fact that I was diagnosed in 2007, and between 2007 and 2009, I did not get better. In fact, I got worse. I ended up filing for Social Security disability, so many things. Now, in those 2 years, there were lots of things that my doctor was suggesting that I do, and I wasn't very good about doing them. Not because I didn't want to, but because I actually didn't know how. I needed somebody to come alongside me and help me figure out how I was going to do the things she wanted me to do. I have nothing against eating healthier, for instance. I just didn't have enough energy to go to the grocery store and go grocery shopping and do the other things I had to do and clean up after I ate. I just didn't have enough energy, right? Living in a fibro body, I just had no idea how to make that work. I was pushing myself so hard to do all of the things that I felt I needed to do, which made me crash. She wanted me to have better sleep habits, but I've always naturally been a night owl. So this idea of like going to bed at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, like my body literally doesn't know how to do that. And I felt like everything she was telling me to do, I totally understood why we needed to do it. I understood the value of it, but I just didn't know how to make it work for me in my life. And because of that, I didn't really do most of the things that she had suggested that I do. Fast forward 2 years, I got to a point where I could visualize my life going in a downward spiral, and I thought something has to change. There is something that I have to do differently. I don't know how to do anything differently myself. I'm a little bit lost, so what ideas do you have for me? And her suggestion was working with a health coach. Now, her health coach that she connected me with was not trained in fibromyalgia. She understood a little bit about it because, of course, she worked at my doctor's office, but she didn't understand it the way somebody living with fibromyalgia does. However, she was still really good at helping me figure things out, right? So I would be able to meet with my coach and say, okay, my doctor wants me to try going gluten-free. How the heck am I going to do this? And we would talk through how that would happen. Or she wants me to go to bed earlier, but I'm such a night owl. How do I make that happen? And we would talk through how to make that happen. I would go to her and say, I keep pushing myself and then I crash. And I know I need to break this push and crash cycle, but I just don't know how. Like, I'm stuck in this merry-go-round. How do I get off? And we would brainstorm about that and come up with strategies to break that cycle. That, for me, was the turning point for getting better, was having that person to talk to strategize with, and come up with new solutions. So let's talk a little bit about coaches for a minute. Now, I think that word, coach, a lot of people misunderstand. I have a lot of colleagues who don't even use that term anymore. We talk about being mentors, or we talk about educating, or we just simply talk about helping you. So you'll notice in most of what I talk about helping you feel better. I mean, that's really all we do. But because my book, you can see over my shoulder there, those of you who are watching the video, my second book, The Fibromyalgia Coach, because that is the title that I use for myself, I thought it would be helpful for you guys to actually understand what that is and where that comes from. So you probably know from sports, from other areas of your life, you probably know what that word coach means, right? So let's just take 2 examples that you've probably run across at some point or another in your life. One is a football coach. I think everybody has seen a football coach. Another one might be a speech coach or a debate coach. Maybe you had a debate team in high school and there was a coach for the debate team. Now, those coaches, their whole job was to take you as a player or as a debater or as a speaker and help you bring out the very, very best of you. Their whole job is to help you be the very best version of yourself, and quite often work together with a team. So like a football coach, or if you have a speech team, the coach is also putting together, talking about teamwork and helping you visualize how you fit into a team of players who are working together towards a common goal. So really, just to be super simple, a coach is simply somebody who helps you be the very best version of yourself, helps you get the very best results possible out of your efforts. I think we can agree on that. So let's take that another step further. Some people have also heard of life coaches or business coaches or health coaches. It's exactly the same thing. It's just a slightly different area of expertise, right? So our football coach, of course, isn't going to tell you how to be a better debater, and our debate coach isn't going to tell you how to be a better quarterback. They stick to their particular areas of expertise. Same thing with a life coach, a health coach, a business coach, a singing or a speaking coach. They are sticking to their areas of expertise to help you be the best that you can possibly be in that particular area. I hired a book coach to help me write my books because I wanted to write the very best book possible. I wanted to make sure, first of all, that I got it done, right? I didn't want to be one of those people who had been writing a book for most of their lives and had never actually published it. I wanted to finish my book and get it out there. And I know from experience that coaches help you do that the fastest, easiest, best way possible. So I hired a book coach. I've hired business coaches to help my business be the very best that it could be and to help me be the best business person that I could possibly be. I've hired health coaches to help me have my health be the very best that it can be and be as healthy as possible. There's so many different kinds of coaches out there. And that word that comes in front of coach most often is really just telling you what that particular person's area of expertise is, right? You might have a weight loss coach. That would be somebody who helps you lose weight the very best way possible, easiest way possible. You might have somebody who is a personal trainer. Now they don't use the coach, but they do word coach, but they do the exact same thing. They help you train in the fastest, easiest, most efficient way possible for you to get the best results possible. That's all a coach is, right? For me, when I think about coaching, I think about a coach or a mentor being the person who is sort of the tour guide, the mountain hiking guide, right? I've shared this on other podcasts, other people's podcasts, so I want to make sure and share it here on this one. That I think of a coach as a guide, right? If you were going to go out and climb Mount Everest. Now, I know most every single person listening to a fibromyalgia podcast is not climbing Mount Everest, but let's use that idea to illustrate the point. If you were going to go climb Mount Everest, your first steps would probably be researching how does a person climb Mount Everest. You would probably also start looking for somebody that had already done it so that you could learn from them, right? It's one thing to read a book and study the mountain from miles away. It's another thing to talk to somebody who has literally been there and done that, right? So you're going to find somebody who has already climbed Mount Everest successfully, right? Like you're not going to interview the guy that, fell off and almost died, right? Maybe you can learn what not to do from them, but you can't learn how to do it right from somebody who hasn't done it. And you also are probably going to want to hire somebody to help guide you up the mountain. You're going to want somebody that is going to show you the easiest way, the safest way, the most efficient way, the one that'll be the nicest to you because Mount Everest isn't very nice, right? So we want to find somebody who can guide you and literally show you this is how you climb the mountain. That is exactly what a coach is. So as a fibromyalgia coach, so I'm just going to expand on all of this one step further, right? So a fibromyalgia coach is a coach, someone who helps you be the very best version of yourself, get the very best results possible in your life in their particular area of expertise, which is fibromyalgia. Somebody who is a fibromyalgia coach is going to help you climb that fibromyalgia mountain. We have been there, done that. We understand what it's like living with a fibromyalgia body. We are going to be able to tell you literally where to step on that mountain to climb to the top the fastest, easiest way possible. We're going to be able to show you from our own lives the things that we did to feel better, or the things that our other clients have done to feel better. After coaching people for 10 years, I promise you there is nothing that I haven't heard in a client call. There is nothing that you're dealing with that I have not heard before. If it falls in the fibromyalgia world, of course, because that's my area of expertise. And I promise you, we can get you there faster and easier because we've been there. We've done that. We've studied all the studies. We've studied the treatment options. We've studied the medications. We can look at what you're doing and give you suggestions for maybe what you missed. We can give you an idea of things that might work, help you choose between treatment options for the things in our experience are going to give you the best bang for your buck, that are going to help you the fastest, easiest way. Now, you have probably gone out there and tried to climb the fibromyalgia mountain on your own, or maybe talked with doctors, which would be similar to like Googling, how do you climb Mount Everest, but without actually talking to somebody who's climbed the mountain, because most doctors don't actually have fibromyalgia. They don't know what it's like to live in a fibro body. Of course, there are some who have. In episode 5, I think it was, I interviewed Dr. Ginevra Lipton. She obviously knows she has fibromyalgia. And working with a coach, working with somebody who understands what you're going through, again, just simply means that we're going to be able to show you the fastest, easiest, most simple, most effective ways to get to where you want to go as quickly as possible. So hopefully that helps understand a little bit what I mean when I say I'm a fibromyalgia coach. And when my coaches that I've trained talk about being fibromyalgia coaches or advisors. The one thing I want you to take away from this is if you are looking for a quick way to feel better, if you have tried everything and you're stumped, or if you're newly diagnosed and you just don't got time to mess with this, right? You can't afford to, go on disability or lose your job or not be the mom you want to be. Maybe you're a single mom and you're like, I can't afford not to take care of my kids. If you are looking for the fastest, easiest, best way to get better, hire a coach. I don't care if you hire me. I don't care if you hire one of my people. I don't care if you go find somebody else somewhere else. And so I'm going to give you some criteria for what to look for if you are hiring a coach, but find one. And it doesn't matter if it's fibromyalgia or you're writing a book or you're building a business or you want to do a TED Talk or whatever it is. The fastest, easiest way to do any of that is to hire a coach. So when you're looking for a coach, when you're looking for a mentor, when you're looking for that mountain guide to help you climb Mount Everest, here's some things to look for. Number one, of course, you want to be looking at their training. You want to look at what experience do they have, what knowledge do they have. And this training and experience comes in two parts. The first part is, of course, the head knowledge. Right? Like, what have they studied? What training programs have they gone through? Who are they training with? Are they being trained by, a pharmaceutical company, or are they being trained by a nutrition company, or are they being trained by somebody who's independent? Are they trained in generic health coaching or life coaching, or are they being trained specifically in fibromyalgia or writing a book, or whatever your thing is that you're looking for a coach? You want to look at their head knowledge. What have they literally been taught? What knowledge is in their head? The second piece of their training and their experience is their personal experience. Have they climbed the mountain before? So have they written a book? Have they lost the weight? Have they had fibromyalgia and gotten better? Whatever it is that you are wanting to do, you want to make sure that the person who is coaching you has walked that path. It's very difficult to coach someone in something you haven't gone through personally. Now, there are always exceptions to the rule. There are some people who are absolutely amazing who haven't gone through that particular thing themselves. But in general, as a general rule, as you're out there looking for experts to help you feel better, look for somebody who has been there, done that. So learn their story. The other thing to look for is, are they actually helping people do the thing that you want to do? Right? So I'll just use personal training as an example here. If you are someone who wants to go run a marathon, you're going to want to hire somebody who teaches people to run marathons, not somebody who maybe is just a couch to 5K coach, because those are different kinds of running, right? So if you are someone who has fibromyalgia and you want to learn how to lose weight, talk to somebody who knows how to lose weight who has fibromyalgia. It's totally possible. There are people out there that do this. If you have fibromyalgia and you want to, be a professional athlete, hire somebody with fibromyalgia who can teach you how to be a professional athlete. Again, there are people out there who do this. I know them. I can introduce you. So look at what their actual practical real life experience is. The other thing you want to look for is individualized options. Now, this isn't true for all things. For instance, if you're losing weight, like losing weight is kind of pretty universal, but especially when it comes to something like fibromyalgia, how fibro shows up for each of us is very different. What our symptoms are, how we respond to things. It can be a challenge if somebody is offering a one-size-fits-all program where everybody is treated exactly the same way to really get what you need for your illness. Again, some things, this isn't as much of an issue. For instance, if you're writing a book, like writing a book is writing a book. So that doesn't matter as much. But when it comes to fibromyalgia, you really do want to be looking at someone who has an individualized approach and isn't just giving you cookie cutter responses, walking everybody through the exact same thing at the exact same time. We all respond differently. We all respond both like different responses, right? Like one person might have a reaction, somebody else doesn't. But we also respond differently in terms of how long it takes us to get through a certain thing. Fibro bodies are very particular, in case you hadn't noticed. So we've got to be super careful about that. Another thing you want to look for is, what kinds of certifications, endorsements, testimonials, what kind of results are they actually producing? So, look and see what kinds of testimonials they have from their patients. Anybody can say that they can help you. They can also say that they climbed that mountain. But if they aren't showing you that they can help other people do that, that's a very different skill, doing it yourself versus helping somebody else do it. So it's very important that you're looking to see that proof that they can actually get you the results that they're looking for. Certifications are a great thing to look for because all the certification means is that the person has gone through particular training. Usually there's some kind of a test, like I can say with my program, they go through a certain amount of training. There's a big final that they have to do, a final exam that proves their head knowledge. And then I also do an interview, a final interview with the graduates of my program, where they have to talk to me, and we actually go through a little bit of a role-playing coaching scenarios where I'm checking for a little bit more of the intangibles, like what their people skills are, what their problem-solving skills are. And somebody isn't going to graduate from my program unless I know they can do the work. So looking for certifications can be a good designation that they know what they're talking about. The thing about coaching is that honestly, there is no regulation out there. Anybody could call themselves a coach. Those of you who are listening to my podcast, you could just decide to call yourself a fibromyalgia coach because I'm teaching you everything on this podcast. But without a certification that shows that you actually took a course and proved that you understand your knowledge, that you can do what you say you can do, it can be a little bit more challenging. So I would always look for somebody who has some type of formal certification or training or proof in other ways, like through client testimonials and client stories, client success stories, where you can actually see that they are providing that work for you. Another thing I would look for when you're looking for a coach, and again, this applies to any kind of coach, any kind of problem, is I would look to see what kind of connections that coach has in regards to the problem that you're trying to solve. So for instance, if you are writing a book, you would want to find a book coach that had connections to publishers and agents and it was connected to the industry. If you're looking for a fibromyalgia coach, you're going to want coaches who are connected to the fibro community, who know and can give you referrals to providers and can guide you into which treatments, where, just using physical therapy as an example. Some physical therapists are amazing with fibromyalgia, and some of them will actually make you feel worse. And so what you're looking for is a coach that can guide you in that and kind of tell you, okay, this is the person that you want to go see for that. So you're looking for somebody who has a lot of connections within that particular community regarding the problem that you are trying to solve. Another thing that I think is so important is if you are considering hiring a coach, ask the question, what coaches are you working with? What I'm about to say is it may be a little bit controversial in my coaching world, but I believe it so strongly. I would never hire a coach that is not also working with a coach. The thing about coaching is that it helps you be the best version of yourself possible, right? And if somebody is not working on becoming the best version of themselves possible, then is that really a person I want to work with? Number one, they're kind of sort of saying they don't really believe in the value of coaching. And if somebody doesn't believe in the value of coaching, why are you paying them money to coach you? It just doesn't make sense. It would be like, hiring a mentor that doesn't have a mentor, right? Like you want somebody who believes that this is good. It'd be like hiring somebody to get you in shape who doesn't work out themselves or something similar, right? Like hiring somebody to help you write a book that isn't writing at all, right? So you want somebody who is also working with a coach, and just ask them, what coaches are you working with? Any kind of coach helps, right? Like I personally do not have a fibromyalgia coach. I literally wrote the book on that. So I do not have a fibromyalgia coach, but I have a business coach and I have a book coach. I've hired health coaches. I've hired personal trainers. I've hired mindset coaches, money coaches. So, obviously I very much believe in the power of coaching and I want to be the best version of myself possible. And I am literally willing to invest my time, energy, and money in becoming that. And so you're looking for a coach that does the same thing, right? That believes in becoming the best version of themselves and is willing to invest their time, energy, and money into doing that. All right, so I gave you a bunch of information there. I hope it gives you information that you can take out and help you find someone to help you achieve the results that you want the quickest, fastest, easiest, most efficient way possible. Whether you're writing a book or getting better from fibromyalgia or climbing Mount Everest, writing a TED Talk, giving a TED Talk, whatever it is, I hope that you will use this idea of looking for a tour guide, looking for a guide to help you get there faster, easier, more efficiently, and with the best results. If you decide you want to talk to somebody about possibly becoming a fibromyalgia coach or working with a fibromyalgia coach, just go to fibromyalgiapodcast.com, and under the contact menu, you'll see find a coach, as well as just our regular contact page, which you can message me about possibly becoming a coach. I will tell you that all of my coaches are people who have personal, direct knowledge of fibromyalgia. The only person who has graduated from my program to date who doesn't have fibromyalgia herself, she has a teenage daughter who has fibromyalgia, and her goal is really to help juveniles and parents of juveniles. So she is a great resource for the people that are perfect for her. I've got coaches who help people who are, in recovery, who are having a pain condition and have to manage pain in different ways. I've got people who help you through FMLA and workplace accommodations. I have people who work with those who are young and in their 20s and going to college and wishing they could go out and play with their friends, but they've got fibromyalgia and can't. I've got people who help you with sleep, help you with coaching. I have a coach who is Jewish who helps her Jewish clients know how to manage fasting, holidays, when you have fibromyalgia and have to take medication with food, all of these kinds of things. There's so many different kinds of coaches out there, no matter what it is that you're looking for. And I promise you, we can find you someone that can mentor you through the challenges that you are personally having. So again, whether it's fibromyalgia or anything else, please work with a coach. It is the fastest, easiest, best way to get wherever you're going. So stay tuned for upcoming episodes. In our next episode, episode 9, we're going to be talking about my favorite topic, which is all of the things that you can do for yourself to help you feel better. We're going to be talking a little bit, expanding on the information I gave you in episode 2 about your body not being the enemy. I know sometimes that's a bit of a challenge to think through, but we'll be talking about that. And we're going to be talking about what self-care means, what it is and what it isn't. And unless you've heard my stuff before, it might be a surprise what I think self-care actually is. It is not about massages. It's not about taking naps. It's about something even more basic than that. And then our 10th episode is our special Ask the Coach episode, which is sort of like our Dear Tammy episode, which is like a Dear Abby, where I'm going to be answering questions sent in by you, the listeners. So if you haven't yet, please go to fibromyalgiapodcast.com. Again, click on contact. You'll see the Ask the Coach option and send me your questions. I've had a bunch of super interesting questions come in. I can't wait to talk about them. And just remember, with this podcast, you never ever have to stress about taking notes or worry about fibro fog. The full transcript and show notes will always be out there at fibromyalgiapodcast.com. This is episode 8, so you will find it at fibromyalgiapodcast.com/8. That will take you directly to this episode for the resources mentioned here. And one of the things that I'll be including is an article I wrote a few years ago on 8 tips for finding the best coach for you. So I will include that for you there. I also have a lot of information in both of my books about how to find a coach and what it takes to be a coach. If you're interested in grabbing copies of Take Back Your Life or The Fibromyalgia Coach, again, just go to fibromyalgiapodcast.com. You'll see books in the menu, and on that books tab, you will have a place where you can request both books. Totally no charge to you. You can go out and download a copy. All right, with that, I am going to wrap up this episode. If there's anything, any questions you have, anything I can help you with, I hope you will reach out to me. I love getting your questions. It's actually my favorite part of the job. I love helping people and love answering questions. So I will see you back here for another episode in just another week. Bye, guys. And that wraps up another episode of the Fibromyalgia Podcast. If you're ready to see if working with a fibromyalgia coach can help you feel better faster, visit fibromyalgiapodcast.com, where you can schedule a complimentary consultation to explore your options. During this call, we'll discuss your fibromyalgia journey, what your needs and challenges are, and give you recommendations on how to reach your goals the quickest way possible. Thank you for tuning in today, and join us next time as we explore more ways to help you take back control of your life and health. My music and sound editing were done by Daniel Munkus at Subtle Soup Records. Podcast management and creative copy by Sonia Louise of Performance Podcasting.